Divisional Sports Central, we go over an NFL game preview and prediction on the 2022 Divisional round matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Huge matchup for both these teams coming up here in the Divisional round. You got the Chiefs, of course, number 2 seed in the AFC, but they're widely accepted to be potentially the best team in the AFC despite Tennessee being number 1, and they're facing off against Buffalo. The Bills, I would argue this team is the hottest team in the playoffs right now. They got a 5-game winning streak heading into this matchup, just beat the Patriots by 30, and they're on fire heading into this matchup. Going to be a good one. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Chiefs beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 42-21 in the wild card round. Big win for them, and that game was close for a long time. I mean, in the first half, the Chiefs had a really tough time offensively, and Pittsburgh, it looked like they were hanging in there, potentially going to put up an upset bid, but in the end, the Chiefs did pull away in the second half as expected. And of course, the Chiefs in this game are headed in 13-5 on their record and a 2-game winning streak as well. And looking at the Bills, they beat the Patriots 47-17, division rival there, and got a huge win at home. 30 points was the win margin there. And they're 12-6 heading into this matchup, and as I said before, 5-game winning streak as well. So, I would say the Bills are the hottest team in the NFL right now. This is a team that kind of in the middle of the season. This team, it almost looked as if Buffalo was going to miss the playoffs. They ended up getting that number 3 seed and winning the division. Patriots were on fire there in the middle of the season, and it looked like New England was going to win the division, but Buffalo ended up snagging it at last second, bringing them up to number 3. So, Bills right now, this is a team that is pretty dangerous in the AFC, and this is a very interesting matchup too because it's actually a rematch of last year's conference championship game between the Chiefs and the Bills. So definitely something to watch out for there as we head into this matchup. And it's also in the same location in Kansas City. And something to keep in mind too, it has been a very long time since Buffalo's won a road playoff game. So that's also at stake here in this matchup. Go be on Sunday, January 23rd in Kansas City. So Chiefs do have the home field advantage, as I just mentioned, and it's also an evening game. 6:30 p.m. Eastern time is your kickoff. Spread's going Chiefs here by 1.5 points. So just about as close as you can get on the spread, which makes total sense. The Chiefs have got more experience going to the Super Bowl. They've been in 2 straight Super Bowls, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. This team's got experience making deep playoff runs, but for the Bills on the flip side, I would say, Buffalo's been playing better than the Chiefs, if you ask me, down the stretch. And of course, Pat Mahomes, it's really tough to pick against him. And with it being in Arrowhead, very strong home field advantage for the Chiefs. So that you got a lot to take in there with the Chiefs. And for the Bills, they're going to play very well in this matchup, going on the road in a once again brutal environment. But FPI is going on Buffalo's side, 52.1% is your current FPI. Series history, Buffalo leads at 27-23. Bills did win the last matchup, but in the last 5, Kansas City leads it 3-2. Here's your stat comparison for this game. Kansas City, 20 points a game, 21 points allowed, 290 pass yards a game, 115 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 215 passing, 56 for rushing. So a few takeaways here from Kansas City. This is honestly, the offense is really where this football team shines. Their defense is okay, but their offense is really, it's been that way for the past couple of years. With Tyreek Hill and Edwards-Helaire, and of course you got Travis Kelce. The amount of weapons that this team has, and then of course you got Pat Mahomes, who's, he's an outstanding quarterback, and he's still a very young quarterback too. Kansas City's got a very bright future, that is for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised to see several Super Bowls still coming Kansas City's way in the next decade. But if you look at this rush defense, they've been playing very well, 56 average rush yards allowed per game, but passing defense hasn't been quite as good. But if you're looking at Buffalo here, 20 points a game, 17 points allowed, 261 pass yards a game, 129 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 232 passing, 89 for rushing. So for points allowed per game, Buffalo's defense is actually slightly better, but points per game is actually the same between the Chiefs and the Bills. But obviously, Josh Allen, he's actually gained some good playoff experience, and that's why Buffalo is also dangerous. If you look at a lot of teams that are just making it to the playoffs for the first time in forever, most times those teams really don't get too far in the playoffs. I think the Bengals are going to be a big exception to that, actually. Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, he's a winning quarterback, and I could see Cincinnati definitely in the conference championship, as I'm actually predicting. But for Buffalo now, they've got some good playoff experience. They were in the AFC title game last year. Josh Allen continues to get better and gains more experience. He's been gaining more experience as well, which has been huge for Buffalo. So yeah, Bills, this is a dangerous football team, very capable of being in the Super Bowl this season. And quite honestly, I would probably pick, Tennessee, the number 1 seed. I just feel like the Titans are, they're not good enough to be number 1 seed, and just kind of fell that way with the record and everything. But I would pick Kansas City and Buffalo, maybe even Cincinnati over Tennessee to get to or to win a Super Bowl this season. Especially these two teams here, the Chiefs and the Bills. Both teams should easily be in the AFC title game, but that's not really how the seedings fell. But once again, both teams here, you got two good offenses, and Buffalo's defense especially has been good this season. Some recent matchups: Kansas City beat the Steelers, also beat the Broncos in Week 18. Did lose to Cincinnati on the road on January 2nd by 3. That was a tough loss there, but they did beat the Steelers back on December 26th as well, 36-10, and beat the Chargers in overtime. As for the Bills, beat the Patriots. They've won 5 in a row once again, and their strength of schedule down the stretch has been, it's not been terrible. They beat the Patriots twice in the past 5 games, beat the Panthers, beat Falcons and Jets as well. So maybe not the strongest 5 games, but either way, any NFL game is tough to win, and Buffalo's won 5 in a row. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Some key points: Kansas City 13-5. Team has got some huge experience in the playoffs, and that's, if you look at Tom Brady, who's continued to, he's got an insane amount of playoff wins and Super Bowls, and you can see that experience comes into play, and he knows how to play in the playoffs. And both teams have got some good experience, but especially the Chiefs, who have been in 2 straight Super Bowls. So offense, once again, really where this team shines, if you ask me, and they've got a huge home field advantage as well in Arrowhead. So that's a huge factor. If this game was in Buffalo, for example, I probably would pick Buffalo, because this game is so close between these two teams, and home field advantage can have a huge factor in these games where the teams are pretty even skill-wise. And Buffalo, of course, arguably the hottest team in the NFL. I would say that they are. You got teams that are probably more consistent, such as the Packers, or even the Chiefs have been pretty consistent down the stretch. But the Bills, this is a team that's really caught fire down the stretch. Once again, they won 5 straight games, which is tough to do, by the way. So, that's huge. So, but defensively, they do have a slight advantage in this game. But Josh Allen, he's gained some good playoff experience, and he's definitely a very capable quarterback of making it to the Super Bowl. So, with that being said, let's get to the prediction here for Kansas City and Buffalo in your AFC divisional round. I'm going to go with Kansas City here, 31-28. It's my predicted final score, and this was a tough one to predict, probably the toughest of the divisional round by far. You got 2 teams here. It's a rematch of last year's conference title, and both teams are very capable of winning this game, and potentially Buffalo comes into this game with, they're already on fire. They've won 5 straight games, and potentially Buffalo comes into this game, and they want to get revenge after that tough loss in Kansas City in the AFC title game last season. And so I'm saying, I'm picking Kansas City here, but it could easily go either way. This one I'm extremely uncertain about. I'm going to go 51% towards the Chiefs, so just about as close as it gets. Over-under's 53.5 here. I'm going to take the over for this game, and Kansas City covers well. Your spread's only 1.5 points, so I would be taking Kansas City pretty much no matter what if I do pick them to win, as I am. But once again, really tough one to predict here. Both teams are playing very well right now, and both quarterbacks are definitely capable of being in the Super Bowl this season. So lots at stake here, and definitely for Buffalo too. This is a team who's been in the playoffs in 2 straight seasons, and this is a big opportunity for them especially. But that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game, and I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.